Hello, and welcome to another episode of What? You First. That's right. This is your place, your safe space for all things self-care, mental well-being, a little bit of personal development. And yes, we are here to do what? Empower you. The who in all of this, I say it. The who is you. I am super excited as always because today I have another amazing guest that is here and waiting in the wings. Today, we're going to be talking about life, love, and even church, talking a little bit about faith and what does that look like? Because my guest is Monique Witcher. She is a pastor's wife. Yeah, she is a woman, a mother. She is also a registered nurse who now currently operates in the space of research coordinator. And so I'm excited. I don't want to burn our time with us having our self first moment, our self chat moment, our you first moment. Let's get our guest in. That's right. Today we're talking about what? Life, love, and the church. So help us give our lovely guest a warm welcome to you first, Miss Monique Witcher.
Hi.
Hello. Thank you so much for pausing in your day. Look, I pulled her away. She wrapped up her day a little bit earlier so she can get home, get herself situated to come on camera to talk to who? To you. So welcome. See, it's hard for me, guys, because I respect the space and the seat that she's sitting in. So if you hear me on occasion, like throw in there, Lady Witcher, it's out of respect. It is out of love because that is really the part of who she is. She definitely represents what a lady should be like. She knows how to even kind of get you together in a nice lady fashion.
Wow.
Yes. But we are excited to have you here, Monique, and just talk to the people for a second. Just let them know a little bit about you. Like I said, you are a pastor's wife, you are a mom, a woman of faith, and we're talking about life, love, and the church. Say hello.
Hello, everybody. I'm not sure exactly where you want me to start. Um,
Well, what we'll start. We'll go with even just a little bit of life. Let's touch on you being a nurse. Even
okay.
with being a nurse and you being a mom, what does that look like in your life for? Because we know that can be very demanding, right? And yes, we know now you've navigated a little bit and you're doing more research, but your sons, they're older. What did that look like with you thinking about? Because this is all about a you first show. This is all about self-care, the career that you chose to go into, right? Want to be of service to serve other people, to
Mhm.
care for other people. What did that look like for you, especially in the beginning?
All right. Again, yes, you're absolutely right. Very demanding. When I chose the field of nursing, my initial thought was I'm going to become a nurse. I'm going to travel, get an opportunity to see some things. And unfortunately, God had different plans for me. It was ironically after I finished and received my nursing degree, not soon after I was impregnated and I had my first child. So I was actually on my first assignment as a nurse. I worked in oncology and I was pregnant at that time and working on oncology. God has blessed me tremendously in this field. He knew how he wanted to use me, obviously, and he knew the path that he was taking me into. So I have been blessed with some awesome jobs as a nurse. Um, some of them where it did take me away from my family, but a lot of them where everything panned out really well. If I can give you a quick synopsis, my first job as a nurse, I was working in oncology. It was a 12-hour shift. So there were days that I was with not being able to be with my family. And there were some Sundays that I had to work. We were required to do, I think, one Sunday a month. And my mom had shared with me that I needed to be in church. My husband's a pastor, and I need to be in church. We do know that pastoring can be demanding, and we know that sometimes when the woman is absent, things can occur in the church that may not be good for your husband. She said my presence was needed.
See, okay.
And
We could, woo. Woo, you hear that, people? You hear that? Look.
So as a pastor's wife,
Yeah,
for
as
those
a pastor's
pastors'
wife,
wives that are
yeah.
out there, if you're working and you don't believe that your presence is needed in the church, it is. It
Oh,
is.
look. She finna jump right on into the church. Let's stay with that nursing just to look. Let's stay with the nursing a little bit because she Ray. I told you I am excited about this guest right here because she is definitely authentic and her responses come from the heart, and that's why I knew she would be best suited to have this self care conversation. Having the children, being busy right with work and the demands of even church, it makes you wonder where did you okay? The wind, some it's windy over there. Look in the windy
And it
city. Yeah.
just started. I'm sorry.
Oh no, it's okay because she decided she wanted to give us some fresh air in our look in our broadcast today. What did that feel like though? Knowing that you said that it was where mom leaned in and said because of the position, you being in that position, you were still needed. So there again, let alone your career at this point, you made the decision. You loving what you do. This with God even blessing you to have start having children, and it's like now I'm required. Look, now I'm required. We ain't even talked about self care yet. Now
Right.
my attention is needed. What
With the
in the
family
with
and
the
then church.
family and the church.
Right.
It's like, how did you, what was that like when you really had to make the decision to pull back? You already was, not that you weren't in the church. Let's establish that out the gate. You look, me and this young lady right here, look, that's where God allowed us to actually meet. So we
Yes.
grateful for that. So it's never above our creator. Let's establish that. It's never above our creator, but we know that sometimes life pulls on certain demands and honoring those demands, then it's like, okay, now I'm married with children. How was that transition to say I gotta now change my schedule again because now I'm needed at church? How was that transition to say I gotta scale, I gotta do a little bit more juggling?
Again, does all things well. All things well. In the oncology realm, it gave me an opportunity to be okay with death and to be able to have a better understanding with death and as it relates to how God transitions us. So that was just a pivot spot for him, obviously for me. Soon after, I actually took a job working in home care. So I was a
Mm.
clinical supervisor, and with that, I was able to make my own schedule. So I was able to work. I was able to go to the grocery store, go back to work, pick my son up from daycare, go back home, cook, go. So he just does all things well. So it worked out really well. I did that for a few years until I felt integrity wise, it was not a good location for me to be. Again, I want to honor God and all that He does for me because He has blessed me. I recognize that He had blessed me with the job and to be able to, complete my nursing career. And I didn't want to take that by working in a location that I was not comfortable. So at that time, I left there, and God again blessed me with a job in labor and delivery, which was my ultimate goal when I first started nursing. I wanted to go into labor and delivery. Had got an opportunity to do that. Fast forward, I went into surgery.
Mm.
And then fast forward to that, now I am in research. A lot of the jobs that God has blessed me with, I have not been qualified for, but He placed me in those positions, and I cannot attest how great God is.
That
He has
is that's
definitely
amazing.
catapulted my career.
Y'all hear that? Even when you think about, we talking because this is talking about self care, but when we are doing what we are called to do and designed to do, there is opportunity for things that we believe that we are not, qualified, suited, or have the look. In some cases, depending on who you are, the degree for opportunities will then show up.
Yes, they do.
Why you have to know not only who you are, but whose you are, right? I say the who is you,
Absolutely,
but knowing
absolutely,
whose you are, because in Him we know that God will give you opportunities that no man would ever believe that we should ever have.
exactly.
All of that even it leads me to talking about the whole you first, understanding who you are. Yeah, whose you are. But then now that you know whose you are, who are you? What were you created and designed and made to do? And a part of that is understanding to say, out of all of this, do I take time to care for myself? Having and knowing that, because we're talking about love, life, the church, you talked about work, you talked about the demands, and then all of the opportunities that you had to even be a supervisor in different departments and all of those things, being a mom, knowing what that looks like to pick up your little one, get back home, make a meal, still be available to have,
Yeah.
communication, conversation with your husband. What does that look like when we talk about just even love? When you talk about now you have a child, you're married, where is the love part at? How does that fit into this conversation when we're thinking about life? Because you talked about life, which led us, led down the path of the career as a registered nurse. But now, wait, what about the love, man? Where the love? We ain't talking about self-care. The love, you have a husband, you have the demands of a husband, and he's not just any husband. He is a husband that is a pastor over a congregation. What does that look like? That whole love thing.
Well, that also was new for me as well. And I want to say this, that a lot of times in marriage, we believe we're doing what we believe that we're doing what we need to do for our husbands, sometimes without asking what they need.
Mm.
Um, my as any young girl, when you believe that when you're going into marriage, you are thinking, oh, the wife's role. Oh, my role is to cook. My role is to clean. My role is to take care of the children. My role is to, make sure the house is an actual home. When actually, sometimes the men like to share that responsibility. And I was so focused on crossing, checking off the check boxes. I need to cook.
Mm-hmm,
I need to do
mm-hmm.
that. Unbeknownst to myself, that my husband likes to cook, and that could have taken something off of my load. But I was just trying to do it all, trying to do it all. And that can be hard. So in doing that, I was actually neglecting him and didn't know it. When I thought I was
Mm.
doing what I needed to do by checking off the boxes, oh, the house needs to be clean. I need to cook. I need to make sure the boys are well fed, look well, dressed well, cleaned up. I was taking on a lot of responsibility where I could have actually stopped and said, hey, do you like to cook? And things may have been a little bit easier for me. But what I did find out with my husband is that for him, church was everything. And in the beginning of our marriage, he was married to the church and I was married to the home. And we didn't
Mm.
connect. We did not get an opportunity to connect like we should have early in our marriage. And we've learned that, talked about it, and we've moved forward from it. And we've learned from it. And now we can share that with other couples, that to understand that, what you think may be needed may not necessarily be what that person needs. If you've ever read the book on the 5 love languages, if you have or have not, I believe that is an awesome book to pick up, to understand what someone's love language is. And most of the time, someone's love language is something that they do for you because they're doing what they want you to do for them.
Yeah, you know what? It's funny that you mentioned that, because when we think about the 5 love languages, it's typically it is. You already know. Uh, we know each other well enough that I'm not afraid. She calls my husband. She refers first to my husband as her brother, right? She knows her
Mm-hmm.
brother. Part of his love language is acts of service, and those acts of service is also cooking. Uh, in the beginning, when we do those things, and it's like saying that's the time that I could have this to do self-care for me, because if he's sharing the load with making meals, I could be off saying while he's cooking for 30 minutes or an hour, I could be meditating, I could be reading a book or getting caught up on some other things that I would want to do for me. How did during
Right.
that time, how did you navigate that space to say, where was the self-care even in all of this?
It wasn't.
Mm.
And I'm just being honest, it wasn't. And I'm still trying to find that. I'm still trying to find it. Unfortunately, that's something that I need to work on. Because for me, sometimes when I think about self care, I feel like as if I'm being selfish and not
Do
recognizing
you know where
that.
that comes from? Like, do you know, like, even when you think about it, be like, oh, I really should be doing this. Like, where is that? Where do you feel? Because is it a sense of guilt? Where do you believe it might even come from? Knowing, because you clearly recognize it, But what do
Right.
you think is, when you think about, where does it come from for you?
You know what? If I can be really transparent with you, I've had talks with God, and I've said, why did you make me the way that I am?
Mm.
Because I believe my soul, my gift is the gift of service. So that's what I do. I love to do it, but at sometimes it can be overwhelming. So that's who I am. I'm a giver. I I put myself out there to the point of no return, and sometimes I don't know how to retract. So I'm just now trying to learn how to say no, I'm not available, and be okay with that, and to put myself first. So that's something I still struggle with now, but
So
I'm working on it.
what kind of things that you, because look, we're hoping someone that you know is watching this, so you know that that means you need to be okay to honor her boundaries, right?
Right.
So what boundaries have you put into place, even if it's tough and you like, no, I have to say no, I cannot take another engagement, I'm not signing up for another program. What have you started to implement? And if you're talking to, whether it's just another woman who is, they already know it, they recognize it. I'm a person that likes to give. I'm a person that likes to be of service, not necessarily even a woman of faith. There are so many men and women. We're not just going to
Right.
leave it to the women. It's men that are that way, to then say, what do I need? What could you help them right now? Somebody looking, listening, leaning in, saying, oh my God, thank God that she's being honest. I'm still struggling. How
I'll
could you
tell
help
you.
him?
Watch me. Wow, what this is what I'll say. I saw a t-shirt that resonated well with me. It said, "Take my advice because I don't use it." So I'm
Mm,
doing
I
and
love, I
saying
love
that I
that.
do very well at telling someone else what they should do, how they should do it, and giving them instructions. I could probably write it all down for you, because I believe in my head is saying, this is what you're going to do. You're going to go out and you're going to say this and you're going to do that. But when it's time to do it, I don't know. I still find it hard. When I say this is something I struggle with, this is something I struggle with. In all honesty, this is something I truly struggle with.
I am,
Um,
I appreciate you being transparent and honest in real time, y'all, in real time. And there's so many people that really do have a hard time knowing that. I say it often, by choice or by force. And we don't want you to be laid up on your back in a hospital, or God forbid something worse than
right,
that, for you or your family to say, she just should have said no, she just should have
right.
less. Right? So it's
Hmm.
like, that means you already know what that means. That means we're gonna have to have her back, because we need to do a checkpoint, right? We're gonna have to have her back to do a checkpoint to say, oh, I remember when she was on that episode and she said, I still struggle, and I struggle right now today.
Yeah.
So it's like you saying, I love that, to take the advice, but we also teach people how to treat us every single day. And some of that teaching the people, we're people. So it's you versus you taking
Hmm.
your own advice. So I want to hear you so we can have it on record. What advice that it's, somebody else gonna lean in and listen in, but is you gonna give yourself so that you could say, dang it, I put it out there. It is in the atmosphere. Now it's across the television waves. What is some things that you are really going to do that you could even do today? It's still early enough in the day. Today. I'm about today, because that is a part of self-care too. Being present and honoring the moment is also another form of self-care, because it's looking at that moment and saying, in this moment, is this something that needs my attention right now? Is this something that I can schedule for later, or not at all? Those are part of the things when you lean in and say, it's not where we have to, it's not brain surgery, it's not rocket science, it's some of the most simplest things for some of the most busiest people. And you think about that with faith, you already know what best way, loving your neighbor as you love yourself. You say you share, but when you think about life, love, faith, in operating in that faith, then how can you be a better example for people of faith and operating and have the responsibility? Some other pastor's wife, minister's wife, another wife that understands that load. When you talking to her, we know that you're going to be talking to you. So
Mm.
Yeah, yeah. You see her eyes get real big, right? Yeah, because I want you to lean into that so that this will be the start of something beautiful. This will be something that we're gonna hold her accountable, guys. We're gonna hold her accountable. I want y'all to be like, how is Monique doing? What's going on with that story? We heard her. We rooting for her. We know she can do this, and we're just going to even begin to put it in an atmosphere that people that some people, they really just need to honor the boundaries. You put them out there, and look, she's just going to have to call me and be like, I want to say yes, I want to say yes, Shawanna, help me say no. Tell them, you know what, your assistant will get back to them on that, and you be like, I need you to just send this text from.
Okay, right.
Seriously,
Sounds
sometimes,
good.
guys,
Yeah.
that's what you have to do. You be like, oh, thank you. Here it is. This is how we can help somebody right now. If you're the person that always want to say yes, you need to say, you know what? Thank you so much for considering me. Let me get back with you on that. Or matter of fact, I'm going to have my assistant to
That sounds good. Yeah,
respond
and
to
I don't
you
even know
on
why
that.
that sounds so good. Like, why don't I have the power to say it by myself? Why don't I have the power to say I'm not available? I
It's
can't do
okay.
it,
No, no. And you know what?
and to lean on someone else to do it for me.
I need you to grant yourself some grace. Grant yourself some grace. Yes. Could I bop you over the head and say, girl, you already know you grown enough. You don't need permission from
Right.
anybody, right? You already know that. I'm not going to tell you that because you are like so many that it sounds good. You said that, take my advice because I don't use it. It
Yeah.
sounds good. But that's why you do have to have those cues to say right before you say yes, be like, even if you slip and say yes, you be like, oh, you know what? I told you yes, but honestly, I'm really going to have to check. Let me check into that, and I'm going to get back with you.
Yeah, that's why the text system is so good. Actually, also,
Yeah.
I have leaned on the text system. It is funny because I am not one of much technology. I don't lean on technology a whole lot. I struggled with even starting when text came out. With even starting texting, I was like, I'd rather much rather talk to someone on the phone. But once I discovered texting and not having to answer the phone, I do utilize that often.
Okay, so we're gonna have to incorporate that in some form of your self-care.
Hmm.
It's the whole listen. If y'all looking and listening and leaning in, use it. It's setting alarms. It's also saying thank you for considering me. I love that you thought about me.
Right.
However, comma, don't even say this time. If you know already that it's something that you
And I
don't
don't
want
even want
to
to do it
do,
next time.
no, don't say thank you
Ever.
for considering me. Then you need to say thank you. However, I'm going to have to pass. That's not a check me out and come back and ask me. You have to give it a dead stop. Be like, and this one, thank you. However, I'm really going to have to pass. That's not something that is
I
in
might
you.
consider that later on. Because again, that actually is something that's really good because that's something I would say. And like, why did you say that? And later on, I said, what did you say? I don't want to do it.
Yeah,
You don't
no,
even
we have
like
to be okay
that.
to not give them another in.
Right.
You have to shut it off,
Close it. Close,
especially
shut the door.
if it is not in alignment with what is going on with your life in this season, whoever you are in this season. If it's not in alignment, stop putting stuff on you.
Hmm.
Let me give you a public service announcement, and you can do it without giving an explanation.
Right.
Go figure that. You
Yeah.
don't owe them an explanation. No, you
Right.
don't. We have been so mentally, I can't even say, I don't even want to say brainwashed, but we've gotten onto this
Programmed.
this in this wheel of I have to give them an no, you don't.
Right.
You thank them and you really mean it. Thank you for considering me. But actually, as it relates to this, I'm honestly going to have to give it a pass. That's
Right.
something that just won't work for my life, right? It just won't work for my life in this season.
Right.
Don't
Right.
say right now, in this season, because
Right.
there's different seasons, and some seasons
Exactly.
are more than 3 months.
Right. Right.
So yeah, yeah. I'm so glad that you paused to have the look, the you first conversation today. I just want to know what is part of that what you're going to take away, and what would you like to leave our viewers with today?
Mm. Well, actually, I think you've educated me more than I've educated you with your crap. This was
Well,
my
no,
therapy
it's about
session,
being
actually.
real. It's a real self-care, mental wellness, show. It is. It's about you. And they get the sneak peek in on us having a heart-to-heart conversation. And everything that I ever say, they're honestly really things. It's not just me saying it because it sounds good. It's really stuff that I had to really honestly operate and put into different places in my own life. That's how come I know it's not just knowing how to give the advice. These are things that I have to use, because you said it right at the top of the show. You get overwhelmed, and it's like, overwhelmed for what? Because then you don't have time. Sometimes we can't remember to even breathe. It's like saying, when I just took that breath, that wasn't for nobody else but me. That wasn't for nobody but me.
Yeah.
And it's remembering to pause for the cause, and you are that cause. So look, what's your take?
I like it. Well, you know what I would probably say is to it's okay to be how God has created you to be if you have the gift of service, it's okay to operate in that gift, but also know where your boundaries lie, and to be okay with saying, I'm not available. It's okay to love on yourself, to know that you're important. You're just as important as the person that you're serving, and to be okay with being served. Because I've learned also that that's where pride comes in, when I'm not able to receive from someone else. To be okay to allow someone to love on me, and to allow someone to want to give to me, or to cater to me. It's okay to take on that, and be happy in that, and then be able to relish in it and not feel guilty. So that's what I'm going to work on. I'm going to work on caring for myself more. And I honestly am going to work on that, and being okay with saying no, so that I can do some things that I want to do, and be okay with doing things that I want to do and not what others want me to do.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. See, look at that. Look at that. That you first conversation, tapping in with ourselves, because we forget about us. We put ourselves at the bottom on so many things, when we were created to have life and live life more abundantly. Yes. Serving other people. Yes. Are we created to assist other people to impact the world? Yeah, we are. But if we're not starting with home, to me, and that home is here, that home is the heart, then we
not gonna be any good for anybody else.
We're not. And then, it show up. It show up in the way we walk, the way we talk, or the lack thereof. It shows up even in your skin. It shows up in your hair. It shows up in your whole being.
It does.
So it's like, how do you want people to see you?
Well, you know what? It's proof, because I've gotten chubbier now. Once I get this weight off, you know that I'm doing great.
No, because see, look. That's another episode for another day. Then you have that in reverse. You have some people who is not comfortable. They're not comfortable, so then they don't eat, but they're still self-caring. So that to me is not, and I'm going to say that for the record, that is not a sign. Measure of weight is not a sign. Yeah,
of happiness or unhappiness. Because for me, it's the opposite. Yeah. When things aren't going well, that's where I can pack things on. And then when they're doing well, I think at that time, that's when I am taking better care of myself. I'm walking, I'm doing things like that. So that's one thing that'll be my very first thing I do. I'm going to start walking again. That was my time for myself. I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I think I'm going to get back into walking, going for my 5-mile walks. I was doing 5 miles a day. And I loved it.
A 1 mile or a 2 mile. I mean, because sometimes you go too far out there and you be like, woo, I took on too much. And that
I started the 1 mile first. I'll start the 1 or 2, and then I'll gradually add on. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we want to thank you guys. As you see, we're going to have her back because we need to check on her. Thank you, Monique Witcher, for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
You First. This is what it's all about. Do some things that you need to do so that you won't be as overwhelmed. Be okay to start saying no to them, which is doing what? Saying yes to who? The who is you. I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you, Monique, Lady Monique Witcher. We'll see her again because we gotta check on her. All right, guys. Bye for now.